Flex your business with an American Express Business Gold Card. You'll earn 4 times membership rewards points on your top 2 eligible spending categories, like transit and electronics, each month, on up to $150K in combined purchases per year. Plus, you can now earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at AmericanExpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold, built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
Well, yeah, but if you're dead, you can't be boyfriend and girlfriend anyways. So
I really didn't think this seriously about it. I really didn't go that deep, guys.
If she's dead, then she's a zombie. Then he can keep her in the backyard.
I thought that was a bit gross. I still every time I see that, I'm just like,
yeah,
I know. I don't like that.
I know.
This is episode 114 of Flixwatcher Podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher Podcast. Today we are joined by Adelle.
Hello.
And Clarisse.
Hi.
And as always, Helen.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about Shaun of the Dead.
Fan of the show? Make sure you follow us on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod. Visit the website flixwatcher.tv for full listings and hit subscribe wherever you find your podcasts.
Just to let you know, guys, all films were available on Netflix UK at the time of recording. Please note, there will be some bad language and there will be spoilers.
Hello, film fans. Joining us today in our studio, we have Adelle and Clarisse. If you would like to say hello to our lovely listeners and tell them about the work you do, please.
Yes, hello. My name is Adelle, and I am a film critic on YouTube. I host a YouTube channel called Roll Credits. You can find me there, talking all things movies and TV and all that fun stuff. And also, I am a new video producer at Facebook. I actually just started a couple of weeks ago, so I'm really excited.
Come here from Australia, take all the jobs.
That's right. I'm an Aussie in London, loving life.
How's that? How are you enjoying London so far?
Yeah, I love it. I've been here about 6 months and it's a pretty great place.
Yeah.
I'm Clarisse and I write about movies for The Independent. And also I very occasionally sit in for Mark Kermode on Kermode and Mayo's film show when he is off doing half term or term time, just holidaying.
On the Entertainment Cruise, typically.
Yes. Yeah, well, I was going to say that, but then if you don't listen to the show, that's going to be really confusing because it's not a literal cruise, it's a figurative cruise. So I didn't want to unnecessarily confuse people.
Yes, I brought it in. I'm sorry. How did you get that gig?
They just contacted me because, like Adelle, I've also got a YouTube channel called That Darn Movie Show. So they had somehow stumbled across a few of the videos, liked what they saw inexplicably and just contacted me out of the blue, and I went to kind of have a mini audition and the rest is history.
I'm sure it's not inexplicably. That's playing yourself down, isn't it?
I think so. It's what I love to do.
Yeah. So we're here talking today about Shaun of the Dead, which is your choice, Adelle.
I'm so excited to be talking about this movie.
So can you tell us why you chose Shaun of the Dead and a 2-minute synopsis?
Why did I choose Shaun of the Dead in 2 minutes or less? So
that's taken 15 seconds on it.
Yeah, okay, no. I just want to take up all the time to talk about this movie. Well, I picked this movie because it's actually a new addition to the Netflix UK library. I noticed it pop up, and I'm just so glad that it's there because so this is a zombie rom-com or a rom-com. And if you haven't seen it, which I'd be very surprised if you hadn't, but it's about this guy named Shaun. And he's just, stuck in a bit of a dead-end job, going about his life, a bit lost in the world, when the zombie apocalypse just happens to go down. And that kind of takes place in the background initially and then comes to the foreground of the story. And it's just so much fun, so many laughs, a lot of blood, and just, a really good time.
I was going to say, you've explained everything there. As a new person to London, have you tried to locate where where some of these scenes took place?
No. But on rewatching it for this episode specifically, I could really start to see like a real London vibe. Because now that I've been here and lived here for a little while, I could really see, the streets really felt very London.
Are you based in North or South London?
I'm in North London.
Okay, so this is your jam, really.
So is.
Did you know it's North London?
No, I did not.
Yeah, I
tried to roll
no
with
idea where it's meant to be.
It's kind of like Holloway, Highgate Way.
That's my hood.
It's in a similar space where they filmed a lot of space, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's
pretty much
because it's kind of like once you get that way. I'm pointing for people who are on the podcast. I'm pointing. We're in Camden. I'm kind of pointing north, and once you go north a bit and not to the very posh areas, then it's all kind of a lot the same. Like Crouch End, Holloway, it's kind of nice kind of area. So it's that kind of place.
No, but I have seen on YouTube people recreating the scene where Shaun like walks to the corner store.
Sure,
and that would be my dream one day, if only.
Well, I think it's very tangible.
Yeah, I think we'd probably make that happen. Your dream can come true.
Oh my gosh.
Helen, what do you reckon, Shaun of the Dead?
I love Shaun of the Dead. I was very happy to have a rewatch of this. And it's not been on Netflix, I don't think, before.
Well, I'm not sure if it's been on before, but I know Hot Fuzz has been on there. And it's one of those...
I mean, Hot Fuzz is on ITV2 every night, I believe.
I don't touch ITV
Pretty
channels.
much. Pretty much. I mean, what's not to love about Shaun of the Dead?
Well, we can talk about that in a second. Maybe. One thing I hate about Netflix is when they have a film in like a trilogy or a series, but they don't have the next film or the one before it. So when I had Hot Fuzz all that time, I thought, well, it might be quite nice to watch Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and then The World's End and like some little...
Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. But then they didn't have that. So it's the first time I've seen Shaun of the Dead. So thanks for bringing it onto the show.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
What about yourself?
I feel like Shaun of the Dead is one of those weird films that I watched very early. And I think a lot of people I know watched it very early. And so it's just kind of integrated into my like film education in a way. I feel like it's such a base for a lot of film fans.
Sure.
It's like kind of the entry points because of the way that Edgar Wright plays around with genre and the way that he plays around with camera. Kind of like when you're young and you're watching it, you're sort of learning how films work at the same time. And so rewatching it, I found it really odd because it didn't really feel like I was watching just a movie. It felt like I was watching like a time period.
Sure.
Or like a certain memory or a certain
nostalgia feeling.
Yeah. So I don't know if I could really approach it critically almost because it's just like, oh, Shaun of the Dead. It's that film that we all watched when it came out and we all were obsessed with it for weeks. And now I don't know. I feel like maybe I've kind of like moved on a little bit from Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, wow.
But like it'll always, I don't know, have its
a special place.
I feel like.
Yes. Well, it came out in 2004. And so, yes, I was in high school at the time. And I just remember it was when I first saw it with my friends, it was quite edgy and, just the comedy, but also the gore. It was really, pushing the genre in a way that I had definitely not seen before with my friends. So, it brings up a lot of nostalgia for me as well.
Well, we had director Iran Creevy on a while ago, and he was talking about pre-aesthetic and post-aesthetic in terms of like the films and the music and what you read up until you turn like 15, 16. They're kind of the things that define you as a human or as a person, your characteristics.
So agree with that.
And then if you watch things after that period that don't tie in with those formative years, then it becomes quite hard to gel with them in that kind of way.
What were the terms again?
Pre-aesthetic and post-aesthetic. I was trying to Google it, but I couldn't find anything about it. But it did kind of tie in with a lot of the things that myself and Helen had talked about previously, whereby, like for me, one example is given is that modern hip-hop for me, I don't understand it. I can't deal with it. So Kendrick Lamar for me is so obtuse. But if there's any new hip-hop that kind of harks back to the old stuff, I'm like, that's fantastic, if that makes sense.
That's so interesting.
No, that totally makes sense because usually if you ask people what their favorite film is, it's usually a film that they saw right around those formative years between the ages of 9 to 14, something like that. And it's always usually what they say for their favorite film, Star Wars.
That's why I'm such a goth, because I watched Sleepy Hollow when I was 13 and I was really obsessed with it.
Yes.
Everything's clicking into place.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense now. How aware of Spaced were you before coming into Shaun of the Dead and Nick Frost and these guys and Edgar Wright before you saw this film?
No, Shaun of the Dead was my first entry point for me into these guys. And to be honest, I think when I saw it, I had no idea what I was getting myself into, walking into. And then I did not even know, just quietly, this before my film literacy days, I also didn't know that Hot Fuzz was, also by Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
I just thought it was another Simon Pegg film. And then when I found out later and then going on to The World's End, I was just, couldn't be more enamored.
Were you a Space fan, Helen?
I was. I mean, I just think the stuff that they did for Spaced and this is really funny. And I know it annoys a lot of people because it's so referential and it does kind of ape so many different genres and mix them all together that some people find that really, really annoying. But I like it, and I like the familiarity, and I like watching it, and I like that thing about when you've watched it so many times, the quotes are coming and you join in, and it has that kind of really fun thing that I really enjoy about these things. But I know that it does really annoy a lot of people, which is why some people don't like these films.
Has this been in a Prince Charles cinema? This would be a good Prince Charles cinema film, I think, wouldn't it?
It must have been.
I'm pretty sure they've probably done all three.
Yeah.
I would have thought so. And had Cornettos for sale.
Oh, of course. You've got to tie them in together.
And if not, they should.
Yeah.
Paging Prince Charles. Beep, boop.
But you said, as you said, that you called it a romcom or romcom. People put that kind of series of words together. This is probably one of the first ones, wasn't it, where they put that together, or at least put zombie and comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If it's not it was definitely my first one that I'd ever experienced this genre mash before. I don't know. I can't think of something else off the top of my head that would have been pre this.
I think this and Zombieland come out in the same year or very close to each other.
Not sure, but I can find out.
We'll do a bit of Googling on that. But in terms of zombie films and comedy films with zombies, how does this rank for you guys?
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm not the biggest zombie movie fan in terms of my horror preferences. It probably ranks at the bottom. No offense to zombies.
Ooh, what's your preference in terms of apocalyptic scenarios?
Well, Well, my Netflix choice reflects my love of apocalyptic scenarios. I mean, I love everything's gone wrong. It's Mad Max. Everyone's fighting each other for resources. That's how I want to see the world end. That we all wear cool outfits.
And it's always super sunny, super bright. The sun's about to explode in it. So
yeah, Shaun of the Dead. Everyone's just wearing rags.
That's probably how it's going to be, though. I think it would definitely going to be like this. We're going to be in the office and sort of look out the window, and there's going to be zombies.
So this is like a documentary for you.
Yeah. I think if I was to have to gauge my categories of horror film, zombies would be at the top, I would think.
So how does this rank with Dawn of the Dead, which is obviously where it's riffing on the title?
I mean, the original Dawn of the Dead is a classic. They both offer very, very, very different things, but I would put them as equals. For me, personally, I do like a good zombie film. They're fun.
I like a good zombie film as well. For sure. Hang on, I'm just help me out here. What do I love?
Well, I mean, Zombieland is 2009 it came out, so I was way off the mark there. But it was for me. I think that's probably my favourite. I've talked before. I'm not
21 Days Later.
21 Days Later, fantastic,
brilliant.
What about World War ZZ? Which way you choose to?
Not that one.
Keep going.
I think my favorite is just Night of the Living Dead, which I know is the OG, old school. But I don't know. I think in a way, for me, it's weirdly never been topped because that film was just perfect in terms of the scares, in terms of the suspense, and also kind of the whole social commentary behind it. And the fact that the main character gets to the... Oh, no, wait, I can't say what happens.
No, you're not allowed to spoil other films on this episode. Maybe I have to come back again.
It has a great ending.
I think I prefer Zombieland to this. Well, I know I prefer Zombieland to this.
They're kind of completely different films, though.
If you talk about zombie films or comedy based,
yes. I mean, there's not that many.
Yeah, there's not that many. But
50-50.
But still, in that ranking of two, I'm more of a Zombieland fan over this one. I think it's more. I just like the fast pacing of it, the quippiness of it, and it just kind of had me a lot more than Shaun of the Dead. And that's partly because I super loved space, like with all my beating heart. And I see a lot of the flourishes of space in here, and I can tell it's Edgar Wright, I can tell there's Simon Pegg behind it, but it just doesn't hit me in the same way as the episodes of Space do.
Didn't hit you like a record to the head.
No. And all the bits I love most in this are the more kind of space bits, like where Nick and Simon are ripping off each other and saying, all right, love, and, having that banter in the pub. They're the bits I like most from this, over the, pretending to be zombies to walk into the pub and things like that. So that's my own problem. I think I'm not as high in this as you guys, potentially. And as other people,
the biggest fan of it.
You're the biggest fan of this. Yeah.
I think it was Spaced a real big deal here in the UK, like when it first came out.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
It was a Channel 4 thing when there wasn't Netflix, when you couldn't record stuff, and when I was a student.
Back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dark times.
So I think you tend to have your mix of mates who would kind of watch it all together or had seen the episode and you talk about it afterwards and things like that. So for me, it was like a proper talking point. But I'm not sure how big it was because it was Channel 4, which wasn't the biggest channel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to compare it. I mean, it's not like Game of Thrones, is it, where it's like a global success. But I think for when it came out for a certain group of people, it was the best thing ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Compared to other Edgar Wright or Cornetto trilogy films.
Oh, well, my favorite Edgar Wright is Scott Pilgrim.
Okay.
Because I love the comics and I think he just did such a beautiful job of translating the comic to screen in a way that is possibly better than like Marvel and DC have done, just in terms of actually capturing like the visual energy of when you're reading a comic is like really hard to pull off. And the fact that he actually did it and the film makes sense and flows and is understandable to someone who hasn't read the comics, I think is really impressive.
True.
I hadn't read the comics and watched the film the first time and thought, what is going on here? But then the second time I watched it, I properly fell in love with it. But after that, I did read the comics, which are excellent, by the way.
So good.
They're so good. They're so much fun, aren't they?
Yeah.
But the second time and subsequent times watching Scott Pilgrim, I've looked for the t-shirts, I've looked for everything that they've done because I think you're right. Probably is my favorite all out and out Edgar Wright film.
I've never considered ranking the Edgar Wright films, so I've just never really thought about it. That for me, his visual style and his tone and everything, it's so Edgar Wright. I don't know. I've never ranked one above the other. I don't know I don't know. I think Scott Pilgrim might be okay. Scott Pilgrim might be a little bit above Shaun of the Dead.
But it's not on Netflix, is it? Is it on Netflix?
Scott Pilgrim was on Netflix.
Yeah,
it was, but I'm not sure. You don't know. They just drop off sometimes.
They just disappear.
You just see it one day.
You just got to take that moment while you can, because you never know if it's going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah. God damn you, Netflix. What about other Cornetto trilogy films?
This is definitely the best.
For you?
Yeah. Although I have watched Hot Fuzz ridiculous amount of time just because I find it so easy to watch. Same with this one, but I think the ending of Hot Fuzz is too complicated, whereas this is a little bit more simple. And World's End, the characters aren't as sweet. Yeah, I think it went a little bit too dark, and the ending is the weakest out of the three of that one.
I can't remember. That's the only one I've only watched once. World's End.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't have any. It kind of felt like they did it because they kind of felt that they had to do it to make the trilogy, even though it doesn't really quite look like everyone particularly wants to be there, and they're not quite sure where it's going themselves, which is a shame, I think.
So the other ones you feel just a bit more organic, and the ideas just came to the front.
Yeah, and I think with obviously Hot Fuzz and Shaun, that it's kind of about Nick Frost and Simon Pegg really, and how they are with each other, and that's kind of missing in the third one.
Yeah. Guys, you want to talk about anything else before we head to the scores?
Well, I do just have to mention one of my favourite scenes in the film.
Sure.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up, and that would be the climactic scene in the Winchester pub when the Queen song comes on the jukebox, and they all have
Don't Stop Me Now.
Oh gosh, Don't Stop Me Now. It's just so much fun. And then the zombies are outside with their arms flailing and they're kind of moshing. The lights are flicking on and off. It just made me put a huge smile on my face, and I just remembered how much I loved that scene.
And the fact it's all rhythmic. They're all hitting zombies
in time.
Yeah.
It's a lovely musical film moment.
Well, let's head to scores and keep on talking about the rest of the film whilst we're doing so.
Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
So, welcome to the spreadsheet of dreams. So, patented.
Have a good spreadsheet.
Patented? Yeah, we'll say it is now by this time. Scoring system. All of our scores are out of 5. You may have decimal places. Lowest you can go is a 0, no minuses. And we will start with you, Adele, with the recommendability, please.
Is this recommending it in general? Just to all the people?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go... Look, I'm standing by my choice. I'm going 5.
Excellent.
Clarisse.
I feel like 4 because I feel like most people will like it, but I feel like some people might be turned off by the level of references in it because it is so sort of paying due to other zombie movies, which maybe if you don't care about them, you'd be like, what's going on?
So 4? You can, like I say,
4.
you can go to decimal places if you want to. Helen?
I'm going to take you on that offer and have a decimal place. I'm going to go for a 4.7 because the people who don't like references or zombies are not going to like this, but I just think it's so much fun. If you haven't seen it and you like either Hot Fuzz or World End, or even if you just like Simon Pegg, just give it a go.
I'm going to go for 4 as well. This is lots of fun. I don't think it's the funnest of them, and I don't think it's the best Edgar Wright, Nick Frost, Simon Pegg combo out there. So I'd recommend.
So which one's your top one then?
Well, I prefer Hot Fuzz to this out of the films, but I've rewatched Space a lot more times than I've watched any of the Cornetto trilogies.
Cornetto.
So I think, I just like that combination of those guys better. Plus, I miss Jessica Stevenson in there as well. I think she's a really cool piece of the puzzle as well, which doesn't feature in the films that come on. And also, I think one thing I actually, on rewatching again, one thing I didn't really like is Shaun's relationship with his girlfriend. I never really kind of gelled with me as to why he's trying to
win her back.
Yeah, never win her back, or it just didn't seem like a proper fully formed relationship.
You convinced by his motivation?
Well, no, I didn't think it didn't make sense as a relationship, so I didn't really care about her or her friends. So for me, I think those guys were a bit more of a distraction from the rest, for the guys who I thought were more interesting.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit weird that he's still trying to get her back during the zombie apocalypse. You're like, just save it for later.
If she's still alive.
Well, yeah, but if you're dead, you can't be boyfriend and girlfriend anyways. So
I really didn't think this seriously about it. It's like a whole new level. I was like, I really didn't go that deep, guys.
If she's dead, then she's a zombie. Then he can keep her in the backyard.
I thought that was a bit gross. I still every time I see that, I'm just like,
I know.
I don't like that.
I know.
That might be another thing. There's a kind of sour taste in my mouth at the end. A zombified Nick Frost playing. I don't know. Repeat viewing scores. Adele.
Okay. All right. Repeat viewing scores. Look, if you enjoyed it enough the first time that you want to watch it a second time, then you're gonna find even more like hidden references and fun things in there. So on that alone, I think it's definitely got great repeat viewing in there. All right, I'm going to go 5.
It's like you're building yourself up.
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be...
I'm just
5.
just justifying it to the table here.
Clarisse.
Oh, I don't. It's hard because I probably will not watch it again. But that's because I've seen it a couple of times now, and I feel like I get it. You know, when you've seen a film enough times, you're like, I get it now. But in deference of people who are maybe watching it for their first time, I'd give it like a 3.5. It's worth at least 2 watches.
Yeah, all right.
And then see how you feel about it afterwards.
Helen.
This isn't going to be a surprise. A 5, I don't know how many times I've seen it. Lots. I mean, it's been out for a while. I had it on DVD. I'm pretty sure it was available on Sky or something to watch. And yeah, I'd happily watch it again this weekend. I just really like it. And I know I've talked about it, but it's just, I find it, even like the weird bits, I don't really mind them. I just think they're funny.
I'm going to go for a 4 because I think if you like it, it's such an easy rewatch. I've no problem ever watching it again.
It's one of those ones where if it happened to be on TV that you couldn't go backwards or forwards, then you can come in at any point and go, oh yeah, we're at this part of the story, and watch the rest of it, or you could watch the start and you'd be like, I'm fine, I know what happens, and still have like a lovely time with those minutes you spend with it.
Yeah, absolutely. What did I say? 4. Small screen score.
I've got to head this up again, do I?
Yeah, because you chose it.
Oh yeah, okay. Small screen. I think
prepare yourself for the engagement score. That's the one next.
I want to do something different here, but look, I think it translates really well to the small screen and does really well on Netflix. I'm gonna stay 5.
Clarisse.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 4 because, so much of the comedy's big and the editing is big, and so it doesn't feel like it's muted or anything by watching it on Netflix.
Helen.
So I was trying to think whether I'd seen it at the cinema, and I can't remember because it was quite a while ago. I really can't remember if I did or not. Anyway, my memory banks, I can't quite pull it up. So I'm going to give it a 4, again, for the reasons that it really works on TV, but also I think watching it with someone who has also seen it before. So if it was on at the Prince Charles, then it would be really fun because you just get to shout out catchphrases and throw records around the cinema and do those kind of things.
Would they let you throw records?
Maybe. You could throw them. Maybe. I don't know. Make it a bit more interactive.
Because when you watch Room, they let you throw
spoons.
Yeah, throw spoons around, which is hilarious.
But only plastic.
Yeah,
they always have a notice saying only plastic. For the love of God, don't throw metal spoons.
You know,
people.
That's because that's happened.
Yeah,
someone's thrown a
metal spoon.
I believe it.
I think I've been hit in the head with a metal spoon before.
Oh, really?
One of those.
In the
I've
PCC?
been to a lot. No. I've been to many different rooms. This is a whole other. When The Room gets on Netflix, hit me up.
Meltdown.
I don't think it will because he makes so much money from other outlets, isn't he?
It's a non-committal offer.
The Room is hilarious watching it with other people. That's one of those where it has a low small screen score because you have to watch with other people to make the most out of it because it is nonsense. Helen, small screen score?
4.
So I was traveling when this first came out, so I wasn't in the UK. And then when I came to America, I was back in the UK. So I've only ever seen this on a small screen. And I think I would benefit. I think maybe I'd be a bit more up on it if I'd seen it with other people the first kind of time. As it was, I was probably just watching it in my bedroom at my parents' house, like feeling sorry for myself. So there's nothing big. There's nothing that big. There's nothing that flashy about it. So I reckon 4. I reckon 4 is good for it. I'm going straight 4s all the way through at the moment. Let's go for engagement score.
Well, you've gone straight 4s. I'm going to do straight 5s.
Straight 5.
Engagement. Yeah. It's just, I think it's, again, what we said earlier about, I just watched this film for the first time. It's such an influential age. Yeah. And it just hits so many nostalgic, fun points with me that maybe I'm just a little bit biased, but I love this film.
That's right.
I think I'd give it a 4.5 because the one thing I really like about the movie is how it's paced, and it really just kind of keeps building and building and building until you get the all-out apocalypse.
Helen?
I'm
also going to go with a 4.5. I mean, it's also one of those films that if you're kind of watching at home and you've definitely seen it once, then you don't have to give 110% engagement on it. And also, I've seen it so many times that I can kind of watch it and, I don't know, do the ironing at the same time and still get like maximum enjoyment out of it because it's just got that kind of niceness about it.
I'm going to go for a 5 here.
Yes.
Each time I watch it, there's an extra bit I hadn't seen before or something else I hadn't noticed. This time I realised it was Rafe Spall. It was the guy who works in the shop who's a dick to him, even though he's like 17 years old. Rafe Spall was in... Who's Rafe Spall? He's
the son of
Tim
Timothy.
Spall. Yeah. He was in...
All I can think of is in Life of Pi.
Prometheus. Life of Pi, yeah. He was...
He's always like that
in
English,
One Day.
like...
I'd know his face.
That's Rafe Spall, which is no offense to him.
We know
but
him
that's
now,
like a type of actor is like an English person who goes...
It's going to be a film called Denmark, which is coming out quite soon. But yeah, so he's quite a big actor actually nowadays. Rafe
Yeah,
Spall.
he's coming up the ranks.
But he's lost a lot of weight from when he was 17, and he does look quite different, but his mouth's the same. So, but also just more things like I didn't realize so much about. I don't think I realized who Dylan Moran was at the time when I first saw it. I didn't realize who Bill Nighy really was when that first came out. He was kind of just an older person for me, but now Bill Nighy's everywhere.
Huge, yeah.
So I think the cast is amazing.
Amazing cast and great cameos as well.
Yeah,
Vernon Kay.
Where was Vernon Kay?
He's one of like the news bits at the start, but it's just kind of funny to see him obviously on the screen and things like that. It's very, very, very British.
It is,
which I think is another reason why I really like it.
But it did well in America though.
Yeah,
and that's what
zombies
that catapulted his career to be on Star Trek, for example. And
did well in Australia too.
Yeah.
It was probably one of my early introductions into British humour. Sure was.
I think how, like you said, how it kind of builds up. So the first time you watch, you perhaps don't notice all the things that are going on in the background. You don't notice that people, Shaun thinks that a lot of people just hung over and stuff like that. But then when you watch it more and more times, you're like, oh, that's an infected one. And you see all the things happening in the background and you hear all the off comments, things that the commentators are saying and on people saying on the TV and how many people are ill or something not because of the flu, it's because of all this syndrome. And it all kind of really... The more and more you watch it, I think the more and more you do get out of it. And that's why I've got the engagement score so high, because it does really reward that side of things. It's very well made.
It is. A lot of thought has gone into it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, with all of Edgar Wright's film, he's very loving towards his influences and he's very careful not to just do like a straight pastiche or just kind of rip them off. He's basically saying, I am referencing this because it's had such an impact on me when I was watching films and this is where I want to be making them. So they're kind of little love letters to different genres and things that he's enjoyed and wants to replicate in his own way.
Pre-aesthetic, post-aesthetic. Right, so we always reach out to the guys on Twitter.
Oh, what was the overall?
Oh, sorry, that means the overall score is 4.45.
That's very high.
Which is tasty.
I think I would have bumped that up. I think
which is
I averaged it high.
Take that, faces places.
So we always reach out to the guys on Twitter before we record, ask for their input. And in this case, we said we're reviewing Shaun of the Dead with Adelle Drover and Clarisse Loughrey. Have you seen it? Give us your thoughts for an on-air shout out on Flixwatcher. Give us a 5-star rating. And we had, as I expected, quite a decent response for this. So we just want to read out a few of these. Adelle, can you lead us out?
I would be honoured. Okay. What were they thinking? Said classic movie that get me hooked on zombie flicks for a long time. 5 stars.
Clarisse.
So this is from Joje Cast.
It's Joje Cast.
Joje Cast. Oh, I'm so sorry.
They must get that all the time.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it from reading it.
And it says, following on from the art episode of Spaced, this is Pegg and Wright on pitch perfect homage form with a heavy dose of originality and a warm but bloody heart, plus a cracking cast, ace soundtrack, and a zinger-filled, ever-quotable script. You've got red on you. 5 star. Oh, well, 5 cricket bats.
5 cricket bats.
Very clever.
We do tend to get people
Very
who
good.
are creative with the emoji.
Brilliant.
Very good.
I love that.
I feel
as
even
a
worse for
review.
pronouncing your name wrong.
Oh, I love that. That was great.
Helen, do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I was just going to say in my notes, which I didn't make many because I watched it as I came home from the pub, is You've Got Red on You. I just love that one. So this is from I Want You to Watch This, all in caps. 5 stars. Probably my second favourite zombie movie after Train to Busan.
I love Train to Busan.
Train to Busan.
That's
Great zombie
fucking
film.
sick.
Yes.
Adelle.
The Countdown Pod says the greatest horror comedy of all time and my favourite British film to boot. Yes.
Yeah, 5 out of 5 stars for them.
Oh, 5 out of 5.
Adelle, we have top film tip here. Typically, guys who come on here find it quite difficult to read because it's so well written, so poised. Are you ready, Clarisse?
North London losers, batter and bludgeon undead hordes, record-breaking, mum-saving, pub-raiding, eccentric, romcom. # Shaun of the Dead. TBH, never really found this funny, more a series of nods to other geek culture touchstones, not a patch on Spaced. And it's 3 zombies out of 5 ice cream cones.
Cornettos,
I guess
I presume.
Cornettos.
Yeah.
But those are ice cream cones. There's no Cornetto emoji. So
I think that's what it's
points off.
Well done. And Helen, last one.
Last one is from Death by Film podcast. Excellent parody with high rewatchability factor.
That's our own word that they've used in our podcast.
Getting into the English dictionary. So 5 stars from them as well.
Yeah. So a lot of love. For this. I think that there is.
As expected.
It's got a great cult following.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, can you let us know where Jasper and the rest of the guys can find you online by telling us what you do and reminding everyone what you do with your YouTube channels or in Twitter or Facebook or not Facebook, Instagrams?
I'm working at Facebook. Okay. Yeah. But if you want to see more from me, you can head over to my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/rollcredits, and see the videos that I'm posting there. Or you can check out my website at www.rollcredits.net.
So just to talk a bit about Roll Credits, you did live reactions to Game of Thrones.
I did. That was the first time I've ever filmed myself doing reaction videos, because it's such a huge little space corner of the YouTube world, and this was the first time I partook, and it was fun. I thought it would be really silly, but it was really fun.
I haven't seen all of them. I saw a few of them, including the episode where with Danny at the Red Keep. I'm not going to say more because I don't want to spoil it, but I really liked your
my reaction. Oh yeah, they were all real. I mean, I'm. When you have a camera pointing at you and you know it's on, I suppose you might be a little bit more animated than if, you were just sitting on the couch in a hoodie. But they're all my genuine reactions, yeah.
Clarisse?
So you can find me on Twitter at Clarisse Lou, or just put in my name, you'll find it. And on Instagram and on YouTube, I'm That Darn the Movie Show.
And also writing for The Independent.
And occasionally on Kermode and Mayo.
Fantastic.
When it's around half term or summer break, then maybe I'll pop up.
The Wittgenstein stand-in.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a substitute teacher is the official term, which makes me feel very old. Very old.
Thank you very much, guys. It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy listening to Flixwatcher podcast? Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to your podcasts. Why not leave us your 5-star review on iTunes and follow us at Flixwatcher Pod on Twitter.
Thank you, Rachel Jordan, for editing this podcast and making it sound so smooth and slick and sweet. And thank you very much to Mighty People for the tunes that you all are enjoying now.